All right. You might have caught that burp or you might not have. I don't know. But we're live. Did a little troubleshooting on the back end, but looks like we might be going live on YouTube. Oh, I have my beautiful missus checking it right now to see when it goes live. If we are live, welcome. Welcome back to the Bodybuilding News Network. I'm your host, as always, Josh Sanj. Thanks for stopping in and checking out the video. We have a lot of stuff going on. Looks like that we are live, so welcome. Uh, Perfect. Okay, we're live. Welcome, guys. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Like I said just a second ago, I'm Josh Sanj. Welcome back to the Bodybuilding News Network, where we talk about all things hot topic and trending in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. Now, we do have a plethora of topics to talk about today. And I want to thank everyone who gave me feedback on last episode where we didn't have audio sharing when I was sharing the screen. So we are going to make that a correction. We're going to make that adjustment today. So thank you for that feedback. And let's go ahead and I didn't hear the burp. Thank you, Xavier. I'm glad you didn't hear the burp. But let's go ahead and hop right into some content for today because we do have a lot going on. I was debating not particularly recording tonight, but I wanted to at least just jump on here and talk about some stuff. So hopefully we can see this screen. It looks like we can see it over here. My face is quite intrusive. So let's try to minimize my face just a little bit here. Okay. Let me know if the face is too much, guys. But let's jump right into this one. So we've got a lot of stories today. First off, I guess Lucky John here is the first story for today. Now, John C. Rivas, he actually was an athlete when I was signed on to what was the company called? It was a supplement company before they did this Tropin Nutrition. It was Black Ops or Spec Ops or something. They actually sponsored Dan here over at Bodybuilders Without Borders. So we kind of had like a cool little team going for a while. But John looks like he won the pro card in the 35 plus. Yep. And he was the super heavyweight overall in the Masters Nationals. And I think this is a great win for him. He, correct me if I'm wrong, won the overall at the Arnold Classic a couple years ago, maybe 1 year ago, right here. And it was the 2025, and I thought he looked phenomenal. He looked great. Brought a good package here, a lot of conditioning. Think the structure is great. Photos aren't obviously perfect, but it looks good. And I don't think that he won the overall here, or maybe they didn't give the pro cards out for open, which sounds like a weird thing to say. But hey, you never know. Sometimes there's weird stuff going on. This is a different show for John. But I will say I like him. I like the physique. He seems like a really down-to-earth guy. And I think this is a great win for him. Now, the question I'll say for you guys, let me know down below, is where do you expect to see John competing? Do you think that he's going to be, Toto agrees, do you think he's going to be competitive in a men's open show? I mean, you might as well, right? You won the pro card. You might as well compete. He could do the Masters Olympia if that's 35 and plus. If that's across the board, I don't know. But let me know down below. Let's move into the next one. I'll have to figure out, maybe I'll put the chat over here so I can see it. Oh, sorry, guys. I want to see the chat, but I don't actually have. Well, here's the chat. Looks like Dylan's here as well. Welcome, guys. Let me know if you guys can hear the audio or not. We covered John. Let's go into Jason Lowe real quick. This is a physique update. Now, Jason's a fun guy because the last time we saw him was at not this last Legion, but the Legion prior, I believe, or maybe I'm off here. But we did see him at Legion the last time we saw him, and he did have some medical issues, and he didn't show up the way we wanted to see him, the way we've seen him before. Um, so keep that in mind. Hopefully, he's going to be continuing to improve. Live stream looks good. Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy. 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 This is very exciting for me, guys. And Jason's one of these guys, very rare to see this. Jason's been a men's open bodybuilder. He's been a 212 Olympia competitor, and he's been a classic physique Olympia competitor. So I think Jason would be the first person to have the trifecta of competing in all three divisions, and hopefully, Jason, hopefully we'll have you back on Bodybuilding and Friends soon. Now that I'm back on YouTube, and we can talk about what your strategy is to get back to the Olympia in men's open. I think that is the next big feather in Jason's cap. Looks like he's getting ready for something. So we might be able to see him in Texas, might be able to see him in Tampa. I don't know if he's going to be traveling overseas for any shows, but he looks great. I think he still needs to put on more size in some shots. This back double, maybe it's the way he's holding it. Maybe he needs just a little bit more size. But the front shots are always great. The side shots are phenomenal. And I like the mustache he's got going on right now. Training in his gym, in his garage. One of those hardcore guys that really enjoys training in his gym. He looks great. I'm super stoked to see what he does next. We definitely expect something good from him. I actually saw something really cool. I don't know if he has it on his story or if it was a short, but it kind of gave me this idea I've never thought of before. And if I can't find it, it will be unfortunate. But what he was doing was in a video, maybe it was a story. He was actually watching last year's Mr. Olympia and he was posing to it, which I thought was such a unique thing to do. Just practicing posing with the best of the best. I don't know if I've heard of anyone actually doing that before. So, hey, let me know if that's something you guys have ever done before. It's definitely something I think I'm going to try in the future for sure. Checking the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yes, he would. Oh my gosh, you guys are going wild over here. Well, good thing we're not monetized right now. Or maybe we are. Brett Wilkins. It looks like a post from 4 days ago, getting ready for the Olympia. He won a show last year overseas. I think he won the Romania, or this was from the Legion a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, where I think he did win that one. But he did end up winning an early Olympia qualification earlier this year. Technically last year, it was a 2024 show that he ended up winning. Maybe it was the Legion that qualified him for this year's Legion. Could be. Maybe I'm off on that one, but I swear he went over and did a European show. Like this one. No, that's still the Legion. Well, he might have won the Legion. He might not have. I'm not 100% sure, but he is looking good coming into this year's Olympia. I've always liked Brett Wilkins, him, Justin Shire, who we'll talk about in a little bit. Those guys are kind of like that younger breed. You've got Jordan Hutchinson coming into Texas, I believe, or the Tampa, one or the other. And we'll talk about that one in a second. I know I have Muscle Insight HQ over here, where we will talk about the Tampa Pro lineup. And we won't see Brett there, but we will see Jordan Hutchinson. And I think he's going to be a good competitor there. A lot of great names in that show, bringing a lot of excitement to kind of the end of the Olympia qualifying year here. Brett is overrated. Dylan, I'm not mad at that, honestly, because he hasn't really placed well. If he did do the Olympia, it wasn't very memorable. Big firework just went off. He's done 2 Legions. Okay. That sounds about right. Oh, Ellen's giving some hearts in the chat. Love to see that. But for Brett, he could do some damage at the Olympia. I don't know if he's going to be a top 10 guy, but if he brings the right amount of conditioning, he could be in the conversation. I'd say maybe like 10 to 14 is where I'd see him, because there's a lot of newcomers that are going to come into the Open Olympia and they've qualified and they're there to make a name for themselves. And I don't know if Brett has the hype behind him to place really high right now, but who knows? Once we start not focusing on Olympia qualifying shows, and we start focusing more on the Olympia itself, we could definitely see more from him, and that could get some hype behind him. Maybe we get to see a little bit more conditioning in the legs is what I'm kind of hoping we could see right here. More separation. But remember, this is at time of posting, I believe this was 13 weeks out. We're just kind of getting into that 14-week bubble. So not a huge deal. I think he's got a lot of time to kind of hone that package, and I think he'll do just fine. Moving into more Brett. Just kidding. Well, Madelman, Jose, what's his name? I always forget his name. Jose Barreria. Now, I usually just call him Madelman. This guy is in the news. He did win this show. It was like a German show that they just had. They were going to have Open, and that's what Amsterdam, right? I think it was an Amsterdam Pro, but the ESN is like a German company. It was supposed to have Men's Open, and then it just disappeared. So kind of a bummer. I was really hoping to see more Open shows, more Olympia qualifiers for good Men's Open competitors, but they did keep the show around for the 212 guys. And the conversation I'm seeing online, let me know if you guys are hearing this as well in the comment section below, is this guy might be comparable to the top 6, the first call out, the top 5 for the 212 this year's Olympia. And it kind of brings us into that conversation. Angel Calderon recently got injured, and it looks like he's going to be out of this year's Olympia with a some sort of a pec tear or a tricep tear. Maybe RX Muscle was sharing that, but I do remember seeing it. You guys get to see the real high speed, professional, trained journalism here of just scouring the internet to see what's going on and what happened. Here it is. Should have remembered the big red fonts. Looks like he has some sort of injury, a tricep injury. So I was correct, and that's going to take him out of this year's Olympia for the 212. Now, he was dabbling. Actually, to be fair, over the last 4 or 5 years, he's been dabbling in the Men's Open. He's won in an Open show and qualified for both. Let me check the chat real quick. I'd like seeing I like seeing that. I like seeing guys that, especially if you've already qualified for the 212. I'm gonna have to figure out the chat, guys, because this sucks that I can't see the chat popping up. I'll have to have a separate screen open or a tablet. What I like to see, especially from people that have qualified for the 212 Olympia, is to throw your hat in the Open. I think somebody like, although Keon is going for the Olympia titles and he's won 2 so far, and he's looking to continue to add to that legacy, if he did want to jump into some other shows, maybe I would almost put money on this, that after he wins his third 212 title, he jumps into the Arnold Classic Open and kind of mixes up that lineup. I would love to see that. I would almost put $1 that he would do that. But when you see someone like Angel, I'm happy that he's doing Open shows. I don't know if that led to this injury. I don't think so, and I hope not. I don't want to put that kind of energy in the air here, but he's going to be out of the 212 Olympia. And what does that go to in reference to what we just talked about a second ago? Madelman. So this guy did very well at this show. He qualified for the Olympia. He won the show. And there's a lot of conversations that he's comparable to some of the guys in the first call out for the 212. So that's kind of my question to you guys is, do you think that Madelman has any opportunity, any chance to be in that first call out of this year's Olympia, especially given the fact that Angel Calderon, historically a top 4, top 6 guy. He's out of it now because of the injury. So that kind of leaves the door open for this guy. It also leaves open for that crazy young up and comer that won the Dubai Pro. He's going to be in that top 6. Absolutely. He's going to be in that top 6. So let me know your guys' thoughts on Angel Calderon being out. Let me know your thoughts on Madelman. Do you think he's a top 6 competitor to the men's 212 Olympia title? Next up, a few days old, but Samson Dauda did do some guest posing. Let me check the chat real quick. Top 6 probably. Zagarella, I do agree with that one. I haven't seen him in a little bit. I'm not sure which show he won, but appreciate you guys entertaining my chat. 2 other bodybuilding journalists are the ones that are entertaining my chat right now. So one is one of the best in the world, Xavier Willis, Desktop Bodybuilding, Bodybuilding AMA, and the other one is a degenerate, Dylan, from Project Bodybuilding, but actually makes amazing content. So make sure you check him out as well. Samson Dauda, guest posing, coming out of a Olympia win and an Arnold Classic defeat. One of the very rare situations that we don't see very often is Olympia champions immediately competing at the Arnold Classic and not winning, let alone competing at the Arnold Classic at all. But I have a lot of faith that Samson's going to bring a better package for this Olympia. I think he's focused, he's dialed in. I'm sure Xavier would speak to Samson's mindset coming into this Olympia, as they are good friends. I've had the privilege to speak with Samson directly. Even the few times I've been at the hostile booth, I had good conversations with some of the other athletes, but not Samson at the time. He was actually in the big talking booth when I was there. And that was a pretty cool opportunity for other, smaller channels, just random fans to get in there and talk with them. But from what I see here, I know I've heard other conversations. Matt over at Muscle Discord, I think he's been vocal about thinking that Samson looks behind around 14. I'd say about 13 and a half weeks out from the Olympia as of posting this video. But I'm not too worried. I think he's going to do just fine. I definitely still think he's going to be a top 3 guy at this Olympia. I know you have Nick Walker coming in, which we'll talk about him in just a second. But all in all, I think he's just fine. I think he's just on par to show up and bring, if not the best package we've ever seen from him, but at least a very good package. So I would not be surprised. Xavier, yes, please send me the money later. um, I'm one of the very few channels that tries to always keep it positive, because that's just how I am. Or maybe I'm just a corporate shill. So Breon Ainsley, this has been a little bit of old news, but I didn't talk about it last week. We're trying to get on here and do weekly shows. Breon Ainsley announcing he's going back to Classic. And I know I've talked with Breon a few times. I actually have his autograph on a couple magazine posters, or magazine covers. And he's a really good guy, really down to earth, phenomenal person. But he also has a really great physique for the age that he is. He's in the upper 40s. I think he's 45. And he's still placing in the top 6 in his respected category. So for him to move to another division that is very stacked with specifically younger talent, but also bigger talent, and also very exciting talent. The 212 is, although it doesn't get a lot of love, I think, from the prize money and from some of the shows, they do have a lot of qualifying shows. So actually, maybe they are getting love, but the prize money's not there as much as the Open. Classic, it's usually dabbling around the same, as promoters try to be fair with that. But Breon is still lethal. He's still competitive in classic physique. And I think that if he continues to compete, although he's way in the off season here, I think if he competes in the classic, I still think he's a first call out guy. If not, he's a top 8 guy. He's still going to be getting prize money. I don't think, shout out to Pomp's Place, which is one of Dan's sponsors. I I don't think he is going to be winning the Olympia title anytime soon with some of the other guys that we're going to talk about in just a second. But I still think that Breon is competitive in classic physique, and I completely support and I'm completely behind his decision to move back to classic physique after this was 2 years or so of him kind of hinting at going to 212. I don't know if I'm going to make this one August 2nd because this is going to be in Los Angeles and Anaheim. I was there 2 years ago and I did actually get to meet him and Regan and Jay Cutler and Phil. Um, I don't know if I'll budget to go down to this show or not, but he'll be in Anaheim. So make sure you guys check that out. So love Breon. I hope he does well. I hope he stays healthy, and I hope he continues to compete in classic physique because he's a great champion. He's a great man, and he always seems to bring a very positive and exciting look to classic. Dylan's saying he's maybe a little small. A small chance that he'll move to 212. Yeah, I think that's past. I don't think he's going to be doing that again. I think he's going to stick with classic. Maybe he does a Masters Olympia here or there just to make it more exciting. But people that are going to be in the way are people like Mike Sommerfeld. This guy has really come out of the woodworks in the last, I'd say, 3 years. He's been competitive and he's always had nice shape. But after dominating the Arnold Classic and really pushing the envelope at the Olympia last year, I wouldn't say pushing Chris, but making it an exciting last Olympia for him. Although we didn't know it at the time, a lot of people were hinting that he would retire. But Mike Sommerfeld sharing some physique updates as of July 9th, around 13 weeks out from the men's classic physique Mr. Olympia, bringing a lot of size, a lot of shape, a lot of classic look, a good classic look to this classic physique Olympia. He is by far, let me know down below if I'm way off on this one, I'm pretty sure he's the favorite to win this year's classic physique Mr. Olympia. There are going to be, as my cat is destroying the trash bag right now, there are a lot of good names coming into the classic. We talked about Breon. I might even get some time to pull up some Terrence Ruffin footage. Oh, it actually shows me some chats over here. Interesting. Oh, guys, look at that. I could just watch the chat here. This is a really professional establishment. I just want you guys to know that we're doing a really good job. But yeah, Breon's home is classic. I completely agree. Okay, we'll be dabbling back and forth with that one. I'll close my YouTube one. For Mike Sommerfeld, I think he's a great competitor. I think he's gonna be in that conversation to win this classic physique title at the Olympia. And I actually heard another conversation. If you've heard this before, please let me know. Mike, I don't know if there's some funkiness going on around him weighing in, but this guy is massive to be still making weight at this size. It's just, what is it? Mind boggling? One of those sayings. He's so freakishly impressive that it makes you wonder, like, how is this guy making weight? And I don't want to I don't want to put any bad things on his name, besmirch or whatever the word is, but it really does make you question, like, how does this guy make weight? It's super impressive. Someone like Breon as well, like, how does this guy make weight? It's crazy. It's impressive. I love to see it, and I think he's going to do well at this year's Olympia. I think I talked about this in the last one, and I did get some comments from you guys saying I was being a little bit harsh on this guy, Martin Fitzwater. This was a guest posing around 14 weeks out. I thought he looked small here. I wasn't impressed with the lines. I didn't think he had a lot of detail. As Ellen picks on me as she's heading out, she's had enough bodybuilding talk for the night. I would like to see more shape from him. I'd like to see more size. I think someone like Tonio brings a lot more size, prettier lines. symmetry than Martin does. You could see that lineup this year. You could see that comparison depending on where Martin places here. I think that bodybuilding wants Martin to be a first call out guy. I think he's going to have a hard time placing top 6, top 5 here at the Olympia. I think there's a lot of big names, a lot of good names that are coming into this one that are very serious about making the improvements and making the statement that, hey, Martin, young buck, take a second, take a few more years, keep improving, and then you'll make it back to the top 6, top 5. I don't know if that's reality. I think Martin is kind of solidifying himself as a first call out competitor at the Olympia, but who knows? You might see him slip. It's really hard to see. It's very difficult to think that because one, Hunter's out this year. Remember, he hasn't competed. He's not qualifying. That guy is, despite how I'm not a huge fan of his physique, he is always a top 6 guy. He's always in the first call out, and Martin seems to be one of these guys that's also continuing to be a first call out guy. So will Martin not be in the first call out at this year's Olympia? I think there is a chance someone like Nick Walker coming in could knock out Martin. But that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections below. Moving into, I want to highlight this guy real quick because he is making strides. He is doing a lot of cool stuff for bodybuilding right now. Stop the cap. Tonio might not be as big, but I think his symmetry outweighs the size differential. But that's just my opinion. Muscle Insight HQ. This guy is killing it with the unique content for bodybuilding coverage, bodybuilding news. Dare I say, this is a bodybuilding news network channel. I don't own this channel, obviously, but he's doing a great job. He's killing it with the unique stuff. I mean, look at this. There are people doing lineups like this, but to include the coaches, I think is phenomenal. Very unique. Doing this kind of like who's left, who's on first, who's on second, who's left to compete. No one's doing this. This is so unique. All the logos are in here. Very cool, very unique, bringing a lot of excitement, a lot of freshness to the Olympia. What I wanted to talk about next was this one. He made this competitors list with floating heads. Who talks about floating heads? This is so cool. Very unique. Very detailed comments talking about the athlete, talking about their coach. Getting into this, I didn't even notice it the first time I looked at it, but he was even adding photos of the coaches, their height, their age, the last time they competed, and pictures of the last time they competed. My cat got into some catnip and he is freaking out. So if my camera goes flying in one direction, that's why. But over here, showing a couple of guys that are self-coached, Stefan, Outlaw, coaching some of these guys. We've got Patrick Moore coming into the show. Don't really expect much there. Some Canadian fellas. This is probably going to be a surprise here. Emir Amaragic. Yeah, I guessed it right the first time. This is a guy, he continues to improve each year. I think I heard he took some time off from last year, and this is probably the first show he's coming back. Still with Chris Aceto, so I'm happy to see that. And some other, here's Justin Shire, one of my favorite physiques, but definitely did not get a good look at last year's Olympia. Him and what's his name? Theo. I think I'm going to talk about Theo in just a second, so I don't want to jump ahead of myself. But Theo is another guy that we haven't talked about in a second. So let me know your guys' thoughts on that one. Moving into trying to cover a lot of different topics so we can really get the best bang for our buck with the shorts that I'll be generating after this live stream. But Rubiel Mascara. I know, Matt, I know you've been talking about this guy. I know some of these other channels, Xavier Willis, one of the best bodybuilding channels of all time. And you can Venmo or Cash at me for that one, Xavier. A lot of people have been talking about Rubiel being a first call out at this Olympia. And like Dylan just said a second ago, stop the cap. There is one reality where Rubiel would qualify or would place in the top 6 in the first call out, and that would be if he brought conditioning that we have not seen from him. And if you think about, I think actually a couple channels have talked about this. We were just waiting on this guy to show up in shape, and then he just wouldn't even show up to shows. So now that he's won 2 different shows with, I mean, clearly I'd say that he's winning this comparison. Andrea Presti, historically known for weak lower body, not the best comparison here. Rubiel really does smoke him here. But I don't think that Rubiel is going to be able to have that kind of comparison when you look at top first call out competitors at the Olympia. He has to bring something we've never seen before. He needs to bring conditioning that is so far out of what he's brought so far that it's very difficult for us to predict, expect, hope for that level of conditioning. I don't think that his legs have the separation, especially from the front. If you're new here, I think that front double biceps win bodybuilding shows. Although it's, just one shot, I think that overall it is one of the most dominant, one of the most presenting shots that you can do. And when you look at all these shots from Rubiel from the front, a lot of size. He looks good. He looks nervous a little bit here, but the legs just don't have the separation that I would like to see. Someone who's been watching bodybuilding for a little bit, I'd like to see more separation. I'd like to see more detail. He has all the size in the world. Even think of someone like Big Ramy, had all the size in the world, but we just wanted to see more detail. And I think that will be the feather in the cap, bringing back that saying that Rubiel Mascara, aka Nexzilla, needs to be a first call out guy at the Men's Open Olympia this year in 2025. Let me know your thoughts on that topic in the comment sections below. Looks like Dylan is still going hard here. Neck versus Nick. That's a good one. That's a good comparison. Now, to add to the craziness as we finish this up, I didn't get to talk about everybody, but I wanted to talk about Dubai Pro and the conversation around if Tonio would have been side by side with Beirut Tabani, would the results have been different? Now, remember, Tonio placed 4th at this show behind William Bonac and some other guy. I can't remember. I don't recall at the top of my head. Not trying to be offensive. It's just I just don't remember that show very well. I just thought Tonio got criminally overlooked. He brings a very pretty package, a lot of great lines. He's not missing anything. He just needs. Does he need more size? Does he need more separation in the hamstrings? Does he need more detail in the glutes? I think his upper body is phenomenal. People have talked about his shoulders being questionable. I don't think so. I don't think Tonio is that kind of guy. I've known him for years. We run a show together called Monday Muscle. He doesn't seem like the kind of person that would stoop to doing weird stuff like that because he's not having a difficult time winning shows. He's won the New York Pro. He's won the Legion Pro twice, the Legion Sports Festival twice, I believe. So not hurting for Olympia qualifications, and I was very happy to see him do the Dubai. But the question here, and let me know your thoughts down below, is they didn't put Tonio and Beirut Tabani side by side, not once at this show. And that really makes me think what exactly was going on there. Tonio not really getting that side by side comparison, I think really did hurt bodybuilding as a whole. We didn't get to see the comparison. We didn't get to see the reigning Dubai Pro champion. Whether or not he deserved it, I don't know. I would like to see more detail in his legs. The hamstrings and stuff look good from the side. His upper body looks good from the side, but from the front, not a lot of detail, not a lot of separation. And the glutes don't really have a very good look. They look very funky. The hamstrings are detailed, conditioned. Upper body is stupendous. but from the front, he does look kind of wonky. Not a lot of detail. Very flat looking. We'll see in just a second when he turns around. But my question here is, maybe I'm way off here. Maybe I'm just a Tonio fanboy, which is true. I do love Tonio. I think he's a great athlete. I think he's a great man. But I thought that he did get royally overlooked at the Dubai Pro by not getting that comparison. They didn't move him next to him at all once. And if they did, please show me that footage, because then that's a video all in itself. But here from the front, the legs just don't have a lot of detail, not a lot of separation, and he doesn't spend a lot of time in the front as well. So maybe he knows that the front legs aren't his strongest body part, and maybe he's trying to stay away from that look. I don't know. Yeah, Tonio should have been second at least. Dylan, I'm with you there. I am with you there. So where we'll expect to see Beirut, I don't think we'll ever see him at the Olympia stage, because he has travel restrictions, being an Iranian civilian. I also believe he had military experience with the Iranian government, which is going to hurt him extremely coming into this country to compete. So don't expect to see him at the Olympia, but I always enjoy seeing him compete because he is a superb athlete. And last but not least, let's go ahead and check out, just real quick, if there's any other pressing topics. What's the chat going on? Dylan, I'm going to figure this out. I'll figure this out for next week to figure out how I can see the chats besides doing it like that, because it is kind of cool, but it's not ideal. That's probably it. That's probably it for today. I think that was a pretty long stream. Nothing crazy, like we're not can I stop sharing that instead of cutting me off? Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it. A 37-minute live stream. I really hope you enjoyed this first one. We're going to find a good time to do this. I don't know if we're going to do maybe early on Saturdays or early on Sundays, but weekends do work best for me to record. And then, of course, we'll be bringing back, hopefully, Friday Flex Talks with a variety of different guests, journalists, bodybuilding characters, and company owners, and things like that. People bodybuilding or bodybuilding adjacent. We'll be bringing that show back. I'm very excited to have that one. Monday Muscle with Tonio Burton, of course. We'll be bringing that back on Mondays. So stay tuned for that. Check out Bodybuilding News Network for all things bodybuilding. Dylan wants more. That was so hot. I'm glad you liked it. It's definitely not what I've done before. I've never really done live streams too much, but it does seem like it's a great opportunity to engage with fans, with the audience immediately. So we'll definitely have to have a chat up next time, so I can tag it, or I'll have a secondary computer running to where I can run it as a host or a producer, and then I can tag chats. We'll definitely see how we can do that. But it's about 10 o'clock my time, so thank you everyone for watching. Dylan, Xavier specifically, two amazing bodybuilding channels coming in here and chatting it up with us. So thanks for watching. I'm your host here on the Bodybuilding News Network, Josh Sanch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.